Good morning, all. Today, let's talk about the multiple pregnancy. Definition: when more than one fetus simultaneously develops in a uterus, it is called multiple pregnancy. You can see in the uterus there are more than one fetus. So, in this stage, it is known as multiple pregnancy. Coming to the types, the twins are mainly divided into two types, that is dizygotic and monozygotic twins. The dizygotic is the commonest type resulting from the fertilization of two separate ovum. So these ovum get two different ovum get fertilized. So there will be two placenta and each fetus is surrounded by separate amnion and chorionic membranes. So in total there will be four membranes. These dizygotic twins are also known as fraternal twins, and there will not be any similarity between these two twins. Next type is a monozygotic twins, which results from the fertilization of a single ovum. So there will be only single placenta and each fetus is surrounded by separate amniotic sac, but there will be only one chorionic layer for the both twins. So it is known as diamniotic and monochorionic, since there is two amniotic sac and one chorionic layer. So intermediate membrane consists of two layers of amnion only. Monozygotic twins are also known as identical twins because they are similar or they are identical to each other. In this diagram, we can easily identify the identical and fraternal twins. The first is the identical twins, also known as monozygous twins. You can see there is only one placenta. For each fetus, there is two amniotic membrane, but there is a single chorionic membrane which covers the both fetus. So this is known as identical twins or monozygous twins. The second diagram shows the fraternal twins or the dizygotic twins, where you can see two separate placentas and two amniotic membrane as well as two chorionic membrane. Coming to the genesis of twins, the first is dizygotic twins or fraternal twins, which we have already explained. It results from the fertilization of two ovum ruptured from the two distinct graphene follicle, one or one from each ovary. So the two different ovum get fertilized to form the dizygotic twins. There will be fusion of two sperms during the single ovarian cycle. So these two ovum fertilized by the two different sperms to form the fraternal twins. Next is the monozygotic twins, so the identical twins, where the twinning may occur at different periods after the fertilization. Here, only one ovum is fertilized and it gets split after a period of fertilization. So the division takes place within 72 hours after the fertilization to become the diamniotic and dichorionic. Division takes place between 4th and 8th day to form diamniotic monochorionic twins. And if the division occurs after the 8th day of fertilization, it becomes the monoamniotic and monochorionic twins. And if the division occurs after 2 weeks of development of embryonic disc, it will become the conjoined twins or Siamese twins. This is a diagram which shows the fraternal twins and identical twins. In fraternal twins, you can see there are two different ovums are there, and these two different ovums get fertilized with the sperm to form the fraternal twins. But in case of identical twins, you can see only single ovum is present there. It gets fertilized with the sperm, and then after the fertilization, after a period of time, this single fertilized ovum splits to form the identical twins. Coming to the etiology, the first is race. The highest incidence is seen in Negroes and Mongols, and hereditary more transmitted to the maternal side. Advancing age of mother, if it is more than 30 to 35 years, there is more chances of getting twin pregnancy. Influence of parity: if the fifth gravida onwards, it increases. If the mother is getting pregnant and she is in the fifth time of pregnancy, there is more chances of getting twin pregnancy. And there are some iatrogenic factors. The drugs used for the ovulation induction cause 20 to 40% of cases of twin pregnancy. You might have seen the mothers who are taking the infertility treatment, they are getting more twin pregnancy. Next is the superfecundation, the fertilization of two different ovum which is released in the same cycle by separate acts of coitus within a short period of time. So two different ovum which is released in the same cycle get fertilized by separate acts of coitus within a short period of time, that is superfecundation. Next is a superfetation, that is fertilization of two ovums released in different menstrual cycle, that is superfetation. Coming to the fetus preparations, the state in which one fetus dies early and the dead fetus is compressed between the membranes of living fetus and the uterine wall. It is more common in monozygotic twins discovered by the ultrasonography at the delivery. So in this case, one fetus is died early and become compressed between the living fetus and the uterine wall. It is mainly seen in the monozygotic twins. Coming to the fetus acardicus, it occurs in monozygotic twins, and here the part of one fetus becomes like a parasite without the heart, that is fetus acardicus. Next is the vanishing twins. Here the occasional death of one fetus and the continuation of pregnancy with the surviving one will be there, and the dead fetus simply vanish and reabsorb in the uterus itself. What are the changes that we can see in the mother with twin pregnancy? First is the increased weight gain. There will be increased cardiac output as the plasma volume will be increased by 500 ml. The fetal protein level will increase and there will be also the increased glomerular filtrate rate. Coming to the lie and presentation of the fetus when there is a multiple pregnancy, the calmness lies longitudinal, that is, both the fetus can be the longitudinal lie position, and but the malpresentations are also common. In 60% of cases, both fetus may be vortex, and in 20% one baby in vortex and the second one in breech position. 10% of cases one in breech and the second in vortex position, and in 10% again 10% both babies can be in a breech position, and about 10% the first baby in vortex and the second in transverse position, and both transfers possibly for the conjoined twin cases or Siamese twins cases, the both may be in the transverse line. In this diagram, you can see the line is longitudinal for both babies, but the presentation is the first baby is vertex and the second one is in breech presentation. In diagnosis cause, first is the history taking. In this, we need to take a detailed history from the mother regarding any ovulation induction drugs if she have taken or she having any family history of multiple pregnancies. These things we need to clear from the history taking. The symptoms that can be seen in mother are increased nausea and vomiting. The morning sickness will be more, tendency of swelling in the lower extremities, then palpitation and shortness of breath due to the gravid uterus. Varicose vein and hemorrhoids can also be seen because of the gravid uterus give extra pressure on the venous. Then unusual rate of abdominal enlargement due to the twin babies, then excessive fetal movements also can be present. In general examination, there is prevalence of anemia due to the more iron demand in the body, then there will be unusual weight gain also. Coming to the abdominal examination, in inspection the abdomen will be large, it may be a shape of barrel. In palpation, the height of uterus may be more when compared to the singleton pregnancy. The girth of abdomen will also be more than normal. The fetal bulk seems larger in relation to the head. When you are palpating, you will feel many parts and you will feel even the two fetal heads as there is two babies in the womb. Then in auscultation also you will get two distant fetal heart rate located at separate spots. If you're doing the internal examination, one head felt deep in the pelvis, one may be engaged in the pelvis, and another can be located by the abdominal examination. In investigation, the first is sonography for the confirmation. By the 10th week itself, we can confirm if the mother having multiple pregnancy. Then viability of fetus, the twin peak sign, that is dichorionic amniotic twins. We can see a twin peak sign. This diamniotic and dichorionic membrane you can see in case of dizygotic twins. And pregnancy dating, you can, with the help of sonography we can calculate the EDD, if the baby having any abnormalities, any growth retardation, whether the baby's growth is okay, what is the presentation, lie and the placenta location, and even the amniotic fluid volume can also be calculated with the help of sonography. This is a sonographic image where you can see the twin peak sign, where the arrow I have given here. You can see two amniotic membrane and two chorionic membrane for the separate fetus. So this is known as twin peak sign. If you're doing the radiography, you can get two fetal head and the spine, and biochemical test there will be a double of alpha fetoprotein level in the blood. Now let's see the complications for the mother during the pregnancy time. The mother will have more nausea and vomiting during the morning time, and there is more chances of anemia due to the increased demand of iron and folic acid. And the mother may experience preeclampsia due to the over distension of uterus, and mother will also have an increased BP. And she also have hydromenos, that usually we can see the polyhydromenos in case of multiple pregnancy due to the increased renal perfusion, which can lead to increased urination of baby, and which results in the increased amniotic fluid in the uterus, which is known as polyhydromenos. And the last is the APH, that is antepartum hemorrhage, due to the bigger size of placenta. There is more chance of the placenta to come at the lower side of the internal os, which can result in the placenta previa and bleeding during the pregnancy itself. Next is the malpresentation, which is more common for the second baby. Most of the time, the first baby may be in the vortex presentation and the second baby may be in the malpresentation position. Next is the preterm labor due to the over distension of uterus and polyhydromenos. There is more chance for the premature rupture of membranes. When the rupture of membranes will occur, the labor will progress and the labor will start much early, which can result in the preterm labor and the preterm baby. Next is the mechanical distress due to the over distension of uterus. The mother will have more palpitation and dyspnea while she is lying on the bed. The mother will also experience varicosities and hemorrhoids because of the gravid uterus pressure. And during labor, there is chances of early rupture of membranes and cord prolapse due to malpresentation. If there is early rupture of membranes, there is chances of cord to get prolapse. Next is a prolonged labor due to the malpresentation. If the baby is not in normal position or not in cephalic position, there is chances of prolonged labor, and if there is prolonged labor, the obstetrician need to take operative delivery, so it can cause sepsis in another case and even bleeding in case of any kind of placenta previa. I have already explained, if the placenta is big, there is more chances of placenta to come down on the lower part of the uterus and it can cause bleeding. So that type of bleeding is known as antepartum hemorrhage. So these complications you can see even in the labor period if the mother is multiple pregnant. Next complication is the PPH, that is postpartum hemorrhage due to the atrophy of uterine muscles due to the over distension. As during the pregnancy, the uterus has been over distended. After the delivery also, the uterus will take time to retract or to come back to the normal position or normal size. So it can cause the PPH, and longer time for the big placenta to separate. As the placenta is big, so it takes long time to get separated from the uterus, so there will be bleeding in the whole time, then bigger surface area of placenta and implantation of placenta in the lower segment. This can also cause the PPH, that is postpartum hemorrhage. Postpartum hemorrhage is the bleeding that occurs after the delivery of baby. During puerperium, the mother will have subinvolution because of the bigger size of the uterus. As the uterus size can be increased more during the pregnancy time, after the delivery also it will take more time to come back to its normal size and position. So that is known as subinvolution. Next, there is more chance of infection due to the increased operative delivery, and of course lactation due to the two babies. Next, we are going to see the fetal complications. The miscarriage rate is increased, premature rate increases. The baby will have growth problems. Sometimes the baby will be undergo the intrauterine death. The fetal anomalies are more common, and the baby will also experience asphyxia as well as the stillbirth. Coming to the management in antenatal period, the diet should be increased, that is 300 kilocalories per day more than a singleton pregnancy, because there is a more intake or the more demand of the protein. Next is the increased rest to prevent any kind of preterm labor. Then supplemental therapy also need to be increased, like iron increased to 60 to 100 mg per day. Additional vitamin, calcium, folic acid, that is 1 mg is required in the multiple pregnancy case. Antenatal visits need to be more frequent when compared to the singleton pregnancy, and fetal surveillance also need to be monitored, like serial sonography in an interval of 3 to 4 weeks. We need to assess the fetal growth, the amniotic fluid volume, also amniotic fluid index. Coming to the management during the first stage of labor, a skilled obstetrician is very necessary. The patient should be in bed. The use of analgesics should be limited. The careful fetal monitoring should be there. The PV to exclude the cord prolapse, the vaginal examination need to be done to find out if there is in cord prolapse in case of premature rupture of membranes. IVRL if required. The cross match blood should be kept ready. Sometimes there is chances of PPH and the mother need the blood transfusion. Also the neonatologist should be present in the labor room. The delivery of the first baby follow all the guidelines as in normal labor. Liberal episiotomy is given under the local anesthesia. The forceps delivery is performed only if it is needed to cut short the second stage of labor. Do not give ergometrin with the delivery of the first baby because it can block the second baby. Clamp the cord and cut it. At least 8 to 10 centimeter of cord is left behind, because sometimes this is needed for any kind of drug transfusion or blood transfusion. Then hand over the baby to the nurse after the labeling as baby 1. Next is the conduction of labor after the delivery of first baby. Is that the step 1, ascertain the lie of the second baby. Find out the lie of the second baby, the presentation, the size, FHS of the second baby by abdominal examination. These all things all should be confirmed by doing the abdominal examination. Vaginal examination is done to find out if there is any cord prolapse and find out the status of the membrane also. If the baby's lie is longitudinal, the step 1 is doing the LRM, that is low rupture of membrane, after fixing the presenting part. Then add the oxytocin to the drip. Internal examination to exclude the cord prolapse. PV should be done to find out if there is any cord prolapse, and check for the fetal condition. You should check for the FHS. That is the step 1. In step 2, if the uterine contraction is poor, you can add 5 more units of oxytocin to the drip. In step 3, if still there is delay or there is no progress of labor, interference should be done. You should apply either forceps or Vendos. If the baby is in vertex and the head is low down position, you can use the forceps. And if the head is not engaged, it is in high position, Vendos is very effective. And if the baby is in breech and the line is transverse, the obstetrician need to correct it by the external version and keep the baby in the longitudinal lie position. And if the obstetrician fails to do the external version, next method is due to the internal version under the general anesthesia. Then the doctor will rotate the baby from the transverse position to the to the longitudinal lie in internal version under the general anesthesia. Coming to the management of third stage of labor, administration of methotrexate 0.2 mg IV, which is given to prevent or minimize the postpartum hemorrhage, and the placenta is delivered by controlled contraction. Continue the oxytocin drip for 1 hour after the delivery. If more blood is lost, it should be replaced by blood transfusion. Watch the patient carefully for about 2 hours. Now let's see the indications of cesarean delivery. There are some obstetric complications like placenta previa, the second degree placenta previa, severe preeclampsia, previous cesarean section, cord prolapse for the first baby, abnormal uterine contraction, and contracted pelvis for mother. In these conditions, the only choice is a cesarean delivery. Next, if the baby have any complication like both fetus or one fetus in non-cephalic position, or twins are any kind of growth complications, or both are monoamniotic twins, or if there is collision of both heads at the brink, preventing the baby's engagement to the pelvis. In these conditions, also the mother will take for cesarean. So this is all about multiple pregnancy, its symptoms, its complications and management. Thank you.